why I decided to become a priest. I suppose when we are growing up, we begin to look for models of people who we would be like. And while growing up, I think I was quite fortunate to have had in my school and in my parish, that is St. Andrew's, Bandra, priests who were really exemplar. And looking at their way of life, and even in my interaction with them, I realized that this was the way of life that I could aspire to. And also the number of people, events, happenings in our lives which somehow do confirm for us that we belong to a particular way of life or not. And I think for me, a number of priests who came into my life, a number of events that I remember very vividly, did make me convinced that this was the way of life that God was calling me to. As regards to why I joined the Jesuits, to be quite frank, I hardly knew anything about the Jesuits. But there was one thing for which I would come to St. Peter's for, and that was for confession. I think it was in the confessional that I felt this call to be a religious priest, taking the vows of poverty, chastity and obedience. Vows which today I understand more of. But I think that was something which attracted me most to the Jesuits. There was no particular work of the Jesuits that I was attracted to, but this very experience of the priests of St. Peter's in the confessional was something that drew me to the Jesuits. At home, I have my mom, my dad, and my elder brother. I've been with the Jesuits right after my 12th standard. It's been 13 years now in formation, and I'm right now doing my studies in theology. I would say that the initial few years were quite difficult being away from home, because I did miss home, and I do miss home even now. My parents do, and my brother also do miss me. And I suppose that is something that we have to live with for our entire life. I do also feel that as time has gone by and as communication is also possible with them, I don't feel that I am ever away from them. And there are definitely moments when I miss them and they miss me. There have been a number of inspirational moments and inspiring people. But if I had to speak about one, I would speak of a providential moment in my life. An event in my life which I feel is the cornerstone of my vocation and which gives me the strength to continue as a Jesuit. In the very second year of joining, in the very first stage of formation called the novitiate, 8 months into the novitiate, I fell seriously ill and I was diagnosed with multiple illnesses. And that, I suppose, was the most terrifying and difficult moment of my life, because from our novitiate in Nasik, I was brought to Bombay and I was literally at death's door. And it was a difficult moment for me, for my family, and for everyone who knew me. The doctors had in many ways given up hope, but God did not give up hope in me. And if I have to look back at that event, and I do look at it a number of times, I draw a lot of strength and grace from it. It was in many ways a confirmation of God's call to me to be a Jesuit and to live for Him. One of the experiences in the novitiate is to cook. And for someone like me who had never entered the kitchen in my life, it was quite a daunting task. I remember one incident very clearly where I was quite confident that I had really made a good dish, but the feedback that I got from others was quite different. I had, as I mentioned, never entered the kitchen, and so my mom sent some recipes to me in Nasik so that I would be able to follow them and make presentable dishes at least. And in one place she had mentioned that I had to put 3 chilies, and I couldn't find any chilies in the kitchen, and so I found chili powder and I put 3 teaspoonfuls of chili powder. And as the practice was, the person who had cooked would wait on the others for them to have, and then we would eat later. And so everyone seemed to be struggling with their meal, and I was wondering what was happening. To my novice master, who was tried to be very assuring and very comforting, said, "Dean, you made an excellent dish. The only thing is, I think it's a little bit too pungent." And that's when I realized my folly, where I had actually misunderstood. Instead of 3 chilies, I put 3 teaspoons of chili powder. I think as I was growing up, I was more of a shy, introverted person, and my interactions with women were quite few. And so I would say that though I always imagined what married life would be and how my life would pan out, I never gave it really a serious thought. After joining the society, a lot of things have changed. I think as I've grown up and I've seen more of the world, I think I've come to realize a lot of things about myself and about others. And I think it is at these moments where this decision has to be made over and over again. And I would say that I have no regrets, because to regret something is to lose out on all the good that has happened in one's life. And I would say quite confidently that it is only with God's grace that one is able to live this way of life. We Jesuits, being religious, take vows of poverty, chastity and obedience. And we Jesuits in particular take another vow called the 4th vow, which is a special vow of obedience to the Pope for special missions. And so whenever it is said that the Pope requires someone for a mission that is truly difficult and challenging, he would look for a Jesuit. Coming to whether the vows bind us or whether they free us, I would like to think of it as promises that are made. When promises are made, they always strengthen relationship. Vows are not something that are imposed on us. Remember that we take these vows freely, and so we also accept that what comes with it, we also accept freely. And there are times when the vows will challenge us, because each of the vows challenges different aspects of us. But since they have been taken freely and with our full consent, and with God's grace, I do believe that we can live them out. Most people would look at me as someone who is quite calm and quite accepting of people. But I find that very often I'm quite the impatient type. And especially when people are late, I get really bugged. And most of the time I hide it. But for certain people in my life who have experienced the after effects of having come late and me losing my cool, I think they're really quite shocked. But of course, they do accept me because I go back into my calm mode pretty soon. Coming to hobbies that I have had before joining and developed, I think I've had quite a strong reading habit. I like to read fiction, non-fiction. I have a lot of interest in looking up things on the web, especially if there are terms or issues that I do not understand. I love looking at them. I also enjoy taking long walks. Visiting people is also another interest which I have developed. And also hanging out with my friends, all the different friends in different groups, the different stages of my life. Meeting them always brings joy and happiness. I think that one thing that I would really like to help people with, and I have made in a way my mission statement, is to help people realize how loved and how valuable they are. This because of the formation that I have received, the ways in which I have been helped, as well as my training in psychology. I've realized after meeting so many people and interacting with them, I realize that at the heart of most people's problems is a low self-esteem, a low self-image, and feelings of being unloved and of being worthless. And if in any way I can help people of all ages, especially youngsters, who I feel very comfortable working with, I would feel that this is the way God has called me specifically. There have been quite a number of doubts, and I suppose some of those doubts still remain. The greatest doubt which I've had is whether I really fit into this way of life. Also questions about whether really this is what God wants me to do, or whether it was by accident that I joined. Whether I really knew about other options before I made this option. Whether I'm really doing the right thing. Whether I will be accepted. Whether I will come across to people as someone genuine. So there are a lot of these doubts. But one way that I have, which has helped me in dealing with these doubts, is to realize that the onus in this vocation of mine is not on me and my ability, but in God's call to me. Because if I have to look at me and my ability alone, I will realize that there are many who should have been called in place of me. But it is God's call which gives me and all my companions the strength to overcome certain difficulties, certain problems, and certain doubts that we have, and to live lives more fully for Him. I think the most inspiring saint for me has been Saint Francis of Assisi. And if I ever had the opportunity to meet him, I think I would ask him how he would feel if he knew that centuries on, people would call him the second Christ. And I kind of feel that if I asked him this question, he would have been overwhelmed, but he would have gone about doing simple daily acts of love and charity that he did, without a care or concern of what people said or the laurels they would place on him. I think he would have gone about spreading love and charity wherever he went. I think that's what's most inspiring for me about it. To anyone who's thinking of joining this way of life, I would say this: follow your heart. Don't be afraid of what others say. Listen to what your heart speaks, what you really believe is the best for you. There are times when you may not know what is the best for you, but I suppose at these times we have to trust God all the more. And believe me, if God has put it into your mind and your heart to join through people, events, circumstances, then there is definitely a reason and a purpose for which He wants you. A reason and a purpose which you will not realize when you are thinking of joining, but a reason and a purpose that becomes clear as you live your life. There will be incidents, there will be people, there will be events which will confirm your choice. So take the leap, follow your heart.